All right, so I'm gonna post, or today I'm gonna be recording the evaluating trig functions notes, which is week 4 Monday's notes. So this day was super important in terms of if you want to do well in the second test, you have to know what you're talking about, or you have to know how to do what we're doing today. So let me share the screen real quick. Mhm. All right, you should be seeing my screen right now. So we're doing the evaluating trig function notes. So for the evaluating trig function, it's super important. So first things first, this unit circle right here that's given, it's not fully what's it called, filled out, but this is all you really need. So you to like do well on this test, this is the only thing that they're gonna give you. And but again, you don't need to have the rest because you'll do well because the only two other information that you'll need to know that will make this helpful or will be helpful for the test is you have to know the following. So yes, or not yesterday, but last week we talked about, or should I say last video, we were talking about reference angles. And in reference angles, that's going to be helpful for today. But first thing before we move on, just remember this is quad one, your top right quadrant. It's quad one, top left quadrant is quad two. Bottom left quadrant is quad three, and the bottom right quadrant is quad four. Now, just know that whenever you're in quadrant one, both your x are always positive, no matter where you go, right? So both our x is positive. I'll do it in different color. X is positive, and your y is also positive. In quad two, we have our x is negative, and our y is positive. In quad three, both our x and our y is negative, and in quad four, we got our x is positive and our y is negative. All right. So again, this right here is super important. This with the last video's reference angle. The other information is what is all you need. This unit circle, this information, and the reference angles from the last vid. If you know how to do all three of those, you'll do fine on the second test. You should be able to pass it with at least a 2. You should get like around a 3, I want to say. All right. So next thing we need to go is the next part. So you should have seen this in math two, SOHCAHTOA. You should have seen it in math two. Hopefully you did. If you didn't, then that is an issue, but I'll go over it again. So SOHCAHTOA, the S stands for sine, O stands for opposite, H stands for hypotenuse. So you just know that sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Ca stands for the C stands for cosine, the A for adjacent, the H for hypotenuse. So cosine is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. TOA, T stands for tangent, O stands for opposite, and A stands for adjacent. So tangents equal or tans equal to opposite over adjacent. And if you are confused right now, it's all right. Just know that that's what SOHCAHTOA stands for. So sines equal to opposite over hypotenuse, cosines equal to adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangents equal to opposite over adjacent. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to use this information, but real quick. So, in a lot of what we're doing today, you're going to be given an angle. So, in this case, I'll draw the angle out like this. This here's your angle. And we don't know what the value of the angle is. So, in math, whenever we don't know the value of something, we like to use letters like X or Y. But when it comes to angles, we use something that's called theta. It looks like a zero with a little dash, little like a line across it, line through it, like slash through it. So that's theta. All right. And real quick, just know that this value right here on the bottom, this is going to be X. So, oh, I messed up that up. So from here all the way to here, it's X. And then from, that's the wrong color I want to do. From here to here, that's Y. And then let's just say this is your point right here. So there should be a little small triangle right here. All right, so we're going to use these trig identities above to find out what our sine, cosine, and tangent is. Just know that this is our angle. And then your opposite, whenever we're talking about opposite, we're talking about the opposite leg. So your legs are, since there's three sides of the triangle, your legs are the side of the triangle that is not the hypotenuse. So your hypotenuse is always going to be the slanted one, or it's going to be all the ways up the leg, the side that's not touching your 90 degrees. So right here is 90 degrees. So these two sides are touching your 90 degrees. This one's not. So this is your hypotenuse. And then the unit circle, your hypotenuse or your hypotenuse is always going to be one in the unit circle. So just know that this here is one. All right. Now your x and your y, we already said that from here to here it's x. So this side right here is x. From here to here it's y. So this side is y. Now we're gonna do sine real quick. So sine of theta. So this is your theta. First, we got to do the opposite. Your opposite is the leg that's not touching your angle. So right here, this angle is touching your theta and this side right here. It's not touching this side. So this right here is your opposite. But we just said that the opposite value is equal to y. So this here is going to equal to y divided by your hypotenuse, but we said the hypotenuse is 1. So y over 1. Now, y divided by 1 is just going to be y. Now we're going to do the same thing with cosine of theta. So your cosine is equal to adjacent. The adjacent side is the side that's touching your angle that is not the hypotenuse. So over here, this is your angle. This is your hypotenuse. And the other side is this one. And this is the only side that's touching it. That is not the hypotenuse. And from the value of this side is x. So we're going to say adjacent. So it's going to be x divided by our hypotenuse, which is 1. And x divided by 1 is just x. Now your tangent of theta is just equal to opposite over adjacent. The opposite side is again the y and the adjacent is the x. So it's going to be y over x. All right. Again, so this is the triangle or the angle that they're going to give you, and you have to make like a imaginary triangle. That's or they're always going to be this imaginary triangle in there. And this is the information that we got from there. Now, this right side is the most important side in terms of this is what you have to like know by memory, especially on the test, because it's not going to be provided to you. So we just said that sine of theta is equal to y. Cosine of theta is equal to x. And your tangent of theta is equal to y over x. That's all you really need to know for today's, okay? And then we're going to be doing evaluating specific angles. And there's kind of like, I want to say 4 steps, like clear steps I have to do. Let me just think real quick. Yeah, around there, maybe 5, 6-ish steps, but we'll see when we get there, okay? But we're going to turn the page around. So it's telling us to evaluate sine of 210. So the way you do this is step 1, you have to draw an angle. So you're going to go like this. Draw your quadrants. You have to draw your angle. And this is from, what's it called? Yesterday's notes. Or the last vid's notes where we're talking about reference angles. So the way we draw an angle is we start here. Now we have our angle is 210. So is 210 bigger than 90? Yes. So we go all the way this way. Is it bigger than 180? Yes. So you go all the way down this way. Is it bigger than 270? No. So we know we stop in this quadrant. And then let me see if we want to focus. So we know we stop here. So boom, that's our angle. Now we just need to find our reference angle. So our reference angle is from here to here. That's our reference angle. But before we do that, we have to know which quadrant we're in. We're in the bottom left quadrant, so we're in quad 3. And now, whenever you're doing your quadrant, just make sure to also do what your symbols are going to be. So in this case, in quad 3, you're minus minus. So it's minus minus. Now, let it focus real quick. In quad 3, again, since we're doing minus minus, now we're going to do the following. So we have to find out which, what do we do? Do we subtract by in quad 3 to find our reference angle, the shortcut? And in the last vid, we said in quad 3, you subtract by 180. So it's going to be 210 minus 180. Now, 210 minus 180 is just 30 degrees. And now, once you get to 30 degrees, it's nice and easy because all you got to do is turn the page around, go to 30 degrees, and look at where your point is. So at 30 degrees, your point is root 3 over 2 and 1/2. So we're just gonna rewrite that. So root 3 over 2 and 1/2. But you see that minus minus, we said that there are minus minus. So this here is also gonna be minus minus. And now you got one last step to do. We're finding out what sine of 210 is. So sine of 210. But remember, sine is equal to the y. In the coordinate, the first value is x. Your second value is y. So since we're doing sine is equal to y. Your y value here is just negative 1/2. So you're just going to put negative 1/2 and you're done. So super straightforward. All right. We're going to go to the next one. So we're talking about cosine of 225. So again, you're just going to draw your angle. Just draw your angle. Oh, I should make that a little bit bigger. And then you start here. Is 225 bigger than 90? Or is 225 bigger than 90? Yep, it is. It's bigger than 180? Yes. Is it bigger than 270? No. So we just know that we stop here. Let me make that connected. And your reference angle is going to be this red part right here. All right. So next thing we're going to do is just going to be, oh, sorry about that, is going to be moving it from, or just again, what quadrant am I in? My bad. Quadrant 3. So what I'm going to put is just put down quad 3. Now, since I'm in quad 3, what I'm going to do next is what's my symbols? We did it earlier, so I'm not going to turn the page around. It's just minus minus. So minus minus. And then quad 3, we subtract it again. We said we subtract our 180 to find a reference angle. So 225 minus 180. And 225 minus 180 is just 45 degrees. All right. Now, once you find a reference angle, you're just turning your page around. What are 45 degrees? 45 degrees, what is our point? It's root 2 over 2 for both of them. So you're going to put root 2 over 2. But we said they're both minus, minus, so you're making them both negative. Now, we're finding cosine of 225. So we're going cosine 225. And then we said cosine is equal to your x value. So your x value here is just negative root 2 over 2. So you just put that down there and you're done. So super straightforward. So we're going to move on to the next one. Over here, we have tan of 180. So again, step 1 is just draw your angle. So is 180 bigger than 90? Yeah. Is it bigger than 180? No. Is it smaller than 180? No, it is 180. So you're going to go all the way to this line. So we're on this line. So we can just turn our page around. So we're all on this line. Right now, we agree that we're on this line. So if this point right here is 1, 0, what do you think this point's going to be? It's just going to be negative 1, 0. So we turn your page around. You don't have to determine the quadrant and what your reference angle is because it's just going to be, what's it called? You could go straight to your point. So it's just going to be negative 1, 0. You can still find, like write down quad 2 minus minus or quad 3 minus minus and subtract by 180 and you'll still get the right answer, but you don't have to. You're just going to be doing more work. So you could just do this. And now when you're here, we're finding tangent. So you're just going to write down tan of 180. And tangent is just equal to y over x. This is your x, this is your y. So y is 0, so you're going to put 0 divided by your x, which is negative 1. And then 0 divided by negative 1 is just 0. And that's your answer. That's how easy it is. All right, I'm going to go to the next one. So tan of 90, draw my angle. Now, we start here. Is 90 bigger than 90? No. Is it smaller than 90? No, it's exactly 90. So you go all the way up here. So your point is on the top. Now, if you turn the page around, what's on our very top? 0, 1. So we're going to be at 0, 1 here. And now again, we're finding tangent from 90. That's equal to y over x. Your y is 1, your x is 0. And then what's 1 divided by 0? It is not 0. It is undefined. Because remember, we cannot divide by 0. It's not possible. All right, here we got this down. We're going to go on to the next one. So over here, this one, it looks a little bit trickier. It is a little bit more different because it got pies in there. It's a radians that they give you instead of a degree, but it's still the same thing. It's just that there's a little extra step they did in the beginning. So first thing you got to do is just convert it from radians to degrees. And remember, to convert from radians to degrees, you have to multiply by 180 over pi. So that's what we're going to do. Multiply by 180 over pi. Pi's are going to cancel. So you'll be left with 180 over 6. So 180 divided by 6 is just 30. All right. So now you can draw this angle, or you have to draw this angle, I mean, not that you can. And then is 30 bigger than 90? No. So you know you stop right here. And then since we're or what quadrant are we in? We're in quad 1 because it's the top right one. And then it's plus plus. It whenever you're in quadrant 1, it's nice because you don't have to subtract by anything. So your reference angle is going to be 30. So you're going to turn your page around and go to 30 degrees and see what it is at 30. At 30 degrees, it's root 3 over 2 and 1/2. So that's what we're going to put. So we're just going to put root 3 over 2 and 1/2. Now we're finding tan the power over 6. And tan is just equal to y over x. Your y is 1/2. Your x is root 3 over 2. And now you just got to simplify. But you see that both of these you're dividing by 2. So like over here, it's 1 divided by 2. Over here, in the bottom, it's root 3 divided by 2. So those 2's, they're just going to cancel. I'm just going to be left with 1 over root 3. Now, we don't want square roots in the bottom of our answer, so we're going to have to get rid of that square root. And the way we do that is we're going to multiply both the top and the bottom and by the square root of 3. Or by whatever's on the bottom. Square root of 3 times square root of 3. The square roots are just going to cancel, and you'll just be left with 3 on the bottom. And on top, 1 times square root of 3 is just square root of 3. And that right there is your answer. You're done. All right. Now, we're gonna do the next one. So the next one, again, we have radians. We don't want radians. We have to convert it to degrees. So what we're gonna do is just gonna be multiplied by 180 over pi. The pi's are gonna cancel. So you'll be left with 3 times 180 divided by 4. And then that's equal to 3 times 180 is just 540 divided by 4. And then 540 divided by 4 is, I don't know, it's the top of my head. So 120, I think. It is 135. All right. So now we're just going to draw our degree. Now we start here. Is 135 bigger than 90? Yes. Is it bigger than 180? No. So we know we stop here. We got to find our reference angle. So we're in quad 2. And in quad 2, we said it was minus plus. And then in quad 2, we subtract by 180. So it's 180 minus 135. That gives us 45. And now we just got to turn our page around to find out what the point is at 45 degrees. At 45 degrees, it's root 2 over 2 for both the x and the y. So over here, you're going to put root 2 over 2 and root 2 over 2. But we said that there's a minus, so your x1 here is going to be minus, and this one stays positive. Now, let me fix this real quick. We're doing cosine of 3 pi over 4. So what we're going to do is cosine of 3 pi over 4. And then remember, cosine is just equal to your x value. So it's just going to be negative root 2 over 2. And you're done. So that's the second type of problems that we're going to get, where like they give you the radians, and we're going to change it from that to degrees. But the next type of question that you're going to get is one that looks like this. And this one, it looks difficult. It is, I guess it is the most difficult one of the notes, but it isn't that bad, I would say. So first thing you're going to want to do is just know that you're gonna get either a question that looks like this, or it might tell you to find uh, the 3 trig functions. And when it's talking about the 3 trig functions, it's just telling you to do sine, cosine, and tangent. So just know that sine, cosine, tangent are trig functions. There's 3 more that we're gonna learn about, but that'll be in the next video, and you don't gotta worry about that for now. So first thing you're gonna do to solve this question is just You say theta, we have theta is equal to 7 pi over 4. Remember, we don't want it in radians, so we're going to convert it from radians to degrees. So we're going to multiply by 180 over pi. Pi's are going to cancel. So you'll be left with 7 times 180 on top, all divided by 4. 7 times 180. Do not know what that is on the top of my head. Let me put it in a calculator real quick. And 7 times 180 is 1260. Divided by 4 is 315. So this is the angle that we're going to be drawing. I'm going to draw it over here. So is 315 bigger than 90? Yes. Is it bigger than 180? Yes. Is it bigger than 270? Yes. Is it bigger than 360? No. So we just know that we stop over here. That quadrant that we stopped in is quad 4. And in quad 4 is plus minus. Now, in quad 4, we subtract by 360, we said on the last bit. So it's going to be 360 minus 315. That's just 45. And we did it earlier when our reference angle was 45 degrees. It's just root 2 over 2. So I'm just going to rewrite that instead of turning the page around. And this time, the first one's positive, but the second one's negative. All right. Now from here, it's pretty straightforward. So we have sine of theta. So we're going to do sine of theta. Remember, sine is just your y value. Your y value here is just negative root 2 over 2. Next, your cosine. Cosine is just equal to your x, so it's just root 2 over 2. Tangent is the one that's going to be a little bit trickier, but it's still pretty easy. Tangent is equal to y over x. Your y is negative root 2 over 2. So it's going to be negative root 2 over 2 divided by root 2 over 2. And now, do we both agree that the top part is literally the same thing as the bottom? So since they're the same, that's just going to cancel. So this is going to be negative 1. And the reason why it's negative is because the only thing that canceled was the numbers. There's a negative left on top. There's nothing on the bottom. So it's just going to be negative 1. And that's your answer, and you're done. So that is going to be all for the vid. Next vid is going to be on, I think it's evaluating trig functions, but it's another new 3, I want to say. It's part 2 or day 2. But that is all. So make sure you study and do well on the test. All right, I'm going to stop recording.